Hi guys, we're going to start a new book. It's called It's by Sarah Weeks, and it's called Save Me a Seat. I'm going to read the back blurb to you. It says a new friend could be sitting right next to you. Joe and Ravi might be from very different places, but they're both stuck in the same place. School, all bold in capitals. Joe's lived in the same town all his life and was doing just fine till his best friends moved away and left him on his own. Ravi's family just moved to America from India, and he's finding it pretty hard to figure out where he fits in. Joe and Ravi don't think they have anything in common, but soon enough they have a common enemy. The biggest bully in their class in a common mission to take control of their lives out of the course of this single crazy week. I always like to tell you how the author does chapters and different things. I find that very interesting to see how they set up their books. Something I like about this book is that it takes place over 5 days, and it has 5 different sections, not necessarily chapters, but it does it the day of the week and what's for lunch in the lunchroom. So Monday is called chicken fingers. Then something else that's really cool they do one chapter from Joe's perspective and then the next chapter from Ravi's. So it tells a little story and a story of its own. So this one's called Monday, Chicken Fingers. Chapter 1, Ravi. Most people in America cannot pronounce my name. On the first day at my new school, my teacher, Mrs. Beam, is brave enough to try. Suryanyene, she says, her eyebrows twitching as she attempts to sound it out. Suryanirayana, I say slowly. She tries again, but it's no better. I'm going to have to work on that, she says with a laugh. I laugh too. Suryanaran is my surname. My first name is Ravi. It's pronounced Ravi, but it's spelled like this. So can you think what a lot of Americans are going to say? Not Ravi, but Ravi. So my first name is pronounced Ravi with a soft Ra and a strong V. In Sanskrit, it means the sun. In America, people call me Ravi with a stress on the first syllable. That doesn't mean anything. Patience is a virtue, Amma reminds me often. She believes that with time, people will learn how to say our names correctly. My grandmother tells her not to hold her breath. We moved to Hamilton, New Jersey a few months ago, May 13 to be exact, and I'm fresh off the boat, as they say. My father got a promotion at his IT company in Bangalore, so they transferred him to America. In India, Amma, Appa, and I had our own house with a cook and a big garden. We even had a driver to take us wherever we needed to go. My grandparents lived in their own little flat nearby. Yeah, now we all live together in a townhouse in a place called Hamilton Mews. Things are very different here in America. Appa takes the train to work. We don't have a cook anymore, so Amma has to prepare all the meals herself. Our new house is much smaller than the old one. There's only one bathroom upstairs, which I share with my grandparents. I wouldn't mind so much, except that Paripa likes to take long showers, and Parima leaves her teeth in a glass by the sink at night. I learned to speak English when I was very young. We speak mostly English at home. I went to an English medium school, but for some reason, people here in New Jersey have trouble understanding me when I speak. I'm trying to learn how to swirl my tongue to sound more American. My grandmother doesn't like it. Be proud of who you are and remember where you come from, she tells me. If you're not careful, you're turned into one of them. Your grandfather didn't slave in the tea plantation so that his only grandson would become some rude, overweight, beef-eating cowboy. I don't think Parima likes America very much. My school in India was called Vidyamandir, which means Temple of Knowledge. My new school is called Albert Einstein Elementary. Parima could hardly wait to show off to all her friends at home that her grandson had been accepted to a school named after a scientific genius. I'm not a scientific genius, but I am a very good student. My favorite subjects are math, English, and sports, especially cricket. Boys and girls, please welcome our new student, Ravi, Mrs. Beam says after she has taken the roll call. He's come to us all the way from India. Isn't that exciting? Mrs. Beam is short and round. When she smiles, her eyebrows touch each other. As I look around the room, a sea of mostly white faces stare back at me. I feel a little nervous. It is my first day of 5th grade in room 506, and I'm the only Indian in my class. There is one other, a boy named Dylan Samreen, but he doesn't count. He is an ABCD, which is an American-born confused Desi. Desi is the Hindi word for Indian. I can tell Dylan's an ABCD because he speaks and dress more like an American than an Indian. So he was born in America, Dylan was. Tell us something about yourself, Ravi. Mrs. Beam smiling at me. Yes, ma'am, I say, standing at attention. Everyone laughs. Mrs. Beam claps her hands. Boys and girls, where are your manners, she says. Go on, Ravi. We're listening, so I push up my glasses and continued. My name is Ravi. I can't say his last name. And I just shifted from Bangalore. Everyone laughs again. What's so funny, I wondered. Mrs. Beam clasps her hands. Her eyebrows are twitching like mad. Boys and girls, is this how we welcome a new student to Albert Einstein? The room gets quiet. The spotlight's on me. I can feel the whole class staring. This is my first day of school in America, and things are not going well. Mrs. Beam turns to me. You can call me Mrs. Beam, she says softly. And Ravi, here in America, students don't need to stand up when the teacher calls them. Do you understand? Of course I do. I push up my glasses, rub my nose. It's something I do when I'm nervous. Mrs. Beam comes over to my desk. She has a look of pity on her face. Don't worry, Ravi, she says, patting me on the shoulder. You can introduce yourself to the class later, after you've had a little time to work on your English. We had a very nice teacher named Miss Frost in the resource room. I'm sure she can help you. I want to say 1, my English is fine. 2, I don't need Miss Frost. 3, I was top of my class at Bottom-Deer. But here's what I do instead. 1, I push up my glasses. 2, I rub my nose. And 3, I sit down and fold my hands. My friends and teachers at Vitamin-Deer would have a good laugh if they could see me now. Their star student, taken for an idiot. What a joke. Mrs. Beam is writing out our homework on the board. I open my notebook and carefully copy down the assignment. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Dylan Samreen staring at me. He looks like a movie star straight out of Bollywood. His long, shiny black hair falls over one eye with a quick jerk of his head. He shakes it away, then he smiles and winks at me. I smile back. Dylan Samreen may be an ABCD, but I think he wants to be my friend. Now we're going to meet Joe in Chapter 2. I'm going to always try to read one of each of them. My name is Joe, but that's not what most people call me, not at Einstein anyway. I've never been a big fan of school, except for lunch. Eating is the one thing I'm really good at. I've always been tall for my age, but lately I've been growing so fast my clothes don't fit anymore. Even the ones we bought a few weeks ago. I'm always hungry. A lot of kids wouldn't be caught dead eating school lunch. They call it mystery meat and slop. But I don't mind. Every week it shows up in the same order. Chicken fingers, hamburgers, chili, macaroni, and cheese, and then pizza. By the way, it's not a coincidence that Tuesday's burger day and Wednesday's chili day, because at Einstein the hamburgers just get recycled. It's not as bad as it sounds. The leftover burgers from your Tuesdays get dumped into a big chopped pot with beans and some other junk, and presto, chango, on Wednesday you got chili. Everybody knows I don't talk much at school. My best friends Evan and Ethan used to call me blabbermouth as a joke, but I guess I'm not going to be hearing that much now since they both moved away over the summer. To be honest, they were a little weird, but I'm going to miss them anyway. Evan, Ethan, and I ate lunch together every day last year, and they had to go to the resource room for extra help, same as me. Not that we had the same problems. For one thing, they were both super hyper. I'm not. This year, I'll have to go by myself to see Miss Frost. I'm not sure who I'm going to eat lunch with. Probably no one. People think you're unfriendly if you don't talk to them, but they don't understand that it's a problem for me that it's so noisy in the cafeteria. My brain and noise don't get along. Last year, I had Mr. Barnes for my teacher. Mr. Barnes is epic. He can bounce a hacky sack off his knee 100 times without messing up. I'd never even heard of a hacky sack until Mr. Barnes brought his to school. It was pink, which Dylan Simreen thought was hilarious. He said something mean about it behind Mr. Barnes's back, and all the girls laughed. Sometimes I wondered what's wrong with the girls. But then I remember, I already know what's wrong with girls. Everything. Mr. Barnes is African American. He shaves his head, wears bow ties, real ones you have to tie yourself. He must have talked to Miss Frost about me because he never asked me to read out loud in front of the class or come up to the board to do math problems. He understood that those things are just hard for kids like me. Some people don't mind having everybody look at them. Dylan Sambreen, for one. He wears his pants pulled down low with his underwear sticking out the top. He wants people to see it because his boxers have dollar signs on them, or maybe dice or lobsters, and he has special ones for the holidays with candy corn or Christmas trees or red hearts for Valentine's Day. Dylan is famous for his boxers, but his real claim to fame is his tongue, which is long and pointy like a devil's. When he sticks it out, it makes the girls scream. He thinks he's the smartest kid at Einstein, and he might be right. He's definitely the meanest. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be Dylan Samreen, but that is something I'll never know. Mr. Barnes was the first teacher I ever had who liked me. Miss Frost likes me, but she likes everybody, so it doesn't count. On my final report card, Mr. Barnes wrote that I was a valuable member of the community. My mom was so proud, she stuck it on the refrigerator with a magnet, and it's still there. Today is the first day of school, and Mr. Barnes is the first person I run into when I get there. He's wearing a red bow tie with little blue whales on it. I'm pretty sure it's new, or at least I've never seen it before. Last year, Mr. Barnes had 17 different bow ties that he always wore in the same order, starting with the green one with white diamonds and ending with the orange and purple striped one. Mr. Barnes' bow ties were another one of my favorite sequences. Yo, Joe, he says, how's it feel to be in fifth grader now? Good, I tell him, at least so far. Maybe this year will be different, I think. Maybe Dylan Samreen won't be in my class. Lucy Mulligan and a bunch of her annoying girlfriends are standing around him chatting. Do it, do it, do it. They want him to stick out his tongue, but Dylan won't. Come on, Samreen, let's give them what they want, Tom Dinkins shouts before sticking out his own tongue and wagging it at the girls. Tom Dinkins is a Dylan Samreen wannabe. The girls don't care about his tongue. I warn you, Dylan tells his fan club, I think it grew a little over the summer. Lucy and her friends start jumping up and down, screaming, ew, ew. One thing I will say about Dylan Samreen, he really knows how to play to a crowd. All the screaming starts to get me, so I do the in 2 3 out 2 3 breathing that Miss Frost has taught me. If that doesn't work, I'll have to use my earplugs. I always keep a pair in my pocket just in case. The same in different colors, but I like the tan ones best because they don't show as much. They're made out of some kind of squishy foam rubber, and when I wear them, I can still hear people talking, only it's softer, like when you're underwater or have a pillow over your head. I'm allowed to wear my earplugs in school whenever I want, but mostly I use them in the cafeteria, on the playground, and in the gym class. Settle down, take your seats, announces Mrs. Bean, my new teacher. This is her first year teaching at Einstein, and she looks a lot younger than any of the other teachers I've had. She's shaped kind of funny. She's wider on the bottom than the top, and she's shorter than me, which is weird considering she's my teacher. She seems nervous, and there's something freaky about her eyebrows. At Einstein, kids have to sit in alphabetical order. Every year since kindergarten, my seat has been right behind Dylan's. I know the back of his head by heart. Mrs. Beam has made name cards for us and put them on the desk, but when I go to take my seat behind Dylan, somebody's already sitting in it. He's a shrimpy-looking kid with thick glasses and greased back down black hair parted on the side. I've never seen him before. I'm not sure where he's from. His skin's darker than mine, but not as dark as Dylan's or Caleb Burrell's. When I look at the card sitting on the desk, I see his name is about a mile long and full of Y's and A's. He seems kind of nervous, too. He keeps rubbing his nose and looking down at his hands, which are folded in his lap like he's in church or something. His shirt is so white, it hurts my eyes to look at it, and he's got it tucked in and buttoned up all the way to the top. When Mrs. Beam asks him to tell the class about himself, he stands up like he's in the army and calls her ma'am, which is about the only word he says that you can actually understand. Everybody starts laughing, and for a minute I think, hey, maybe fifth grade isn't going to be so bad after all. Maybe Dylan Samreen will decide to pick on the new kid with the weird name and the unfunny accent instead of me. All right, called Save Me a Seat.